Welcome, Hoarders. Today we're going to be playing some more Grand Theft Auto 5. And this Testing Tuesday, I have a more special video than what I would normally be doing for a Testing Tuesday. I know what? Whose voodoo's that? That looks, okay, I was going to say. From driving by it going forward, it looked exactly like mine, but mine looks nothing like that. But this Testing Tuesday, we will be putting the Oppressor Mark 1 up against the Oppressor Mark 2. I know other people have done videos on it. I just wrecked. Great. Okay, anyway. I know other people did videos on it. I didn't watch any of them because I could care less about other people's content on something because I feel like a lot of them aren't honest. So I go and do it myself because if I do it myself, I know the results are what is real. I did buy the Mark II. I have the Mark II and the Mark 1. I'm on the Mark 1 right now, for those of you who are really into the game. It has quite a few things I like about it, honestly. I've owned this one since I could. Like, once it came out, that was one of the first things I tried to get. And I tried to do the same thing with the Mark II, but it is just unbearably expensive to get these vehicles, because not only do you need the vehicle, but you need, for the Mark 1, you need the Mobile Operations Center, and then the Custom Vehicle Garage in the Mobile Operations Center in order to fix it up. So you have to buy 3 things in order to even do modifications on the bike. The same goes for the Mark II, where you have to get the Terabyte truck, and you also have to get the mobile garage with that. So I did the math on the Mark II. I didn't do the math on the Mark 1. But the Mark II cost almost $5 million just to get the truck, the bike, and the garage, which is horrendously expensive. $5 million for, like, the regular player. I consider myself more active than the regular GTA player because I have bought a lot of stuff, and I have sold a lot of cars. But it is hard to try to get these things just by yourself or with playing with friends. I did the submarine heist probably 3 times and still didn't have enough money to get all of the stuff I needed. It's just terrible. But let's focus on the Mark 1 first, and then I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. Being that I've owned this much longer, I know this thing inside and out. I'm really, really used to using it. The Mark II I've owned for a couple weeks now. Maybe not a couple. I've owned it for maybe 10 days, almost 2 weeks. I don't know. In my honest opinion, I like the Mark I better. What my original plan was to buy the Mark I and the Mark II. Whatever one I liked more, I was going to keep. The other one I was going to sell and get the scramjet car, which I'm more of a car person than a bike person anyway. And the only thing that I use the oppressors for is to, like, if I start up a mission, I'll show you a clip of the Mark II. I was gathering supplies for my bunker, so I could make weapons and sell them. And that helped out a lot. That was like a really good, nice thing to be able to do with that. I don't know if I'd be able to do the same thing with this. I'm sure you could, but it would be more tricky considering there's guardrails and stuff like that. But keeping on the side of the Mark I, as it stands, I like this one more. If you separate the 2 bikes as just driving, not using rockets, not flying, the Mark II will hover, which it goes faster than when it's flying. Both of that, like, both these vehicles have the same issue. When they're in the air, they're slower, which you can understand when you're on the Mark 1. It makes sense with the Mark 1 because it's a propelled glider. So you get a boost and then you will glide for a while until you have to have, for some reason, both wheels hit the ground in order to build your boost again. So I do that. You'll boost, you have to just tap both wheels on the ground. It's a pretty easy thing. If you have... Why did that not lift up? I feel like the front wheel glitched through the roof. Because I pulled back. I've never had that happen. I mean, I've wrecked it many, many, many times. That's cool. Well, I'm gonna have to go out and reorder my bike then. That's ridiculous. That should not have happened. It, like, leaned forward and I was pulling all the way back. Okay, I got the Oppressor again. I don't know why it did that, in all honesty. Probably because I was recording. Every time I record, that's when something stupid happens. But I've been using this for a while. I'm used to the flying, the landing, the gliding, all that normal stuff that you have to deal with this. But I feel like using this, it is so much faster than the Mark II. And it's... This one isn't terribly... Like, the price ranges aren't terribly different. I think the Oppressor Mark II is only a couple 100,000 more, or maybe not even a full couple 100,000. But driving alone with the wings, like hovering with the Mark II, or just standard driving with the Mark I, I would have to say they're about even in speed. I don't know. We are going to be testing them here in a couple minutes. But when they're flying, like, just from getting point A to point B, I feel as if the Mark I destroys the Mark II. And that's kind of annoying to me, because when you think of a Mark, like the Mark II Oppressor, you're like, oh, it literally runs off of a jet engine. It has the exact same engine that this one has, but the other one also has a jet engine, and the max speed you can go is 86 in the air. I should probably be focusing more on all the stuff on the Mark I, which I'm going to be doing now, instead of, like, wasting time repeating the same stuff. This one, it's fairly quick on land, on land. Top speed's not bad. The steering's pretty good. The braking is much worse with the wings extended. Like, you slam on them, it's not that great. But that's, like, more of an issue when landing than anything. You just have to think, once you hit the ground, put your wings back in. They both have the same feature of, I can't use them right now because I am in passive mode because I'm recording. But they both have the rockets, all that stuff. The Mark II does have the mounted, like the heavy-duty machine guns, which are not available on this. But this has a lot more upgrades engine-wise than the other one does. I think the other one doesn't even have transmission or turbo. This has, like, all of the normal stuff that a car has. And I kind of like that a lot more, because it just feels faster when you actually need it to go faster. But let's take this over to the test track and see what we can get with it. Okay, the audio you will be seeing on here is going to be of the rocket bike. Yeah, that's real specific. The orange hovering bike. I will not, for both vehicles, I will not be using the boost on this one. I'll be doing one later on the drag track, or the drag strip, to see which one will be faster during that. Honestly, with this, I have confidence. I think that this one is going to be won by the hover bike, mostly because I don't see... Oh gosh. Wow, I didn't think that was gonna turn quite like that. That's the one weird thing about the hover bike, is it goes odd. Okay, we're gonna be turning right here. Keep it tight all the way to the bottom. This does have great acceleration, but the top speed isn't like enormously high. But I'm gonna try to have like a timer at the bottom of the screen. That way you guys can see while both of these are going at the same time, to show I'm not like messing around. I have no reason to make this fake anyway, so I'm just gonna do it full legit for you. Okay, over here, we're gonna make a left, and then sharp right, and follow this the rest of the way down. Yes, LJT, I'd love you to call me some more. Try to keep it in the yellow, and there, across the line. I'm not sure what time I got, like I said earlier. I don't have a way of timing this that's really good other than after the editing and all that stuff. So let's now head on over to Leaderboard. Okay, first we're going to be taking a look at the Oppressor Mark 1. It finished in 21st place at 2 minutes 10.11 seconds. Not a bad time in general. It really isn't. It's up there with quite a bit of the other faster cars. I think, I said it before, like the top 30 to 40-ish, I'd say the top 40 cars are fairly quick vehicles. The truly horrendously slow ones start coming out at about 80. They're the ones that you just have absolutely no fun driving around, unless the car itself is fun. Obviously, there's some, like the older meth-looking RV that's slow, but some reason it's just fun to drive. But it got a respectable time. It wasn't extremely fast, but it was still a pretty good time. So let's go see what the Mark II got. The Oppressor Mark II finished in second place at 1 minute 59.20 seconds. That is a fairly quick time, but the one thing that truly annoys me is that for much cheaper, you can get the Shih Tzu Drag, which is much faster. And like I said earlier, the Oppressor Mark 1 and Mark 2 go their fastest while they're on land. When they're flying, hovering, or, well, obviously the Mark II can only hover and fly, but the hovering is essentially the drive mode of it. When it's hovering, that's the fastest it can go. When the Mark 1 is driving, that's the fastest it can go. And the Mark II and the Shih Tzu Drag were doing the exact same thing, but the Shih Tzu Drag did it better for cheaper. That's one of the things. I have like a pretty big rant at the end of this video of why I think this is a ridiculous vehicle to have. But let's go over and take these both to the drag track and see what we can get with them. Okay. Now we're going to be doing the regular drag race. I want to try to get lined up with that sign as good as I can. Also, again, I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I will find a way during editing to time it, and hopefully it'll be good and normal and not anything weird. But 3, 2, 1, go. That's not a very quick start. Also, like I do with normal bikes, I don't lean forward or back, because it's just a regular relaxed position like you would normally be doing when you play the game. I know I sometimes lean when I'm riding a bike on here, but you can't always do it. Okay, and ka-ting. Okay, so that would have been the finish line. Not sure what time we got. I will post that. So let's head on over to Leaderboard and see where we placed. Okay, first we're going to be taking a look at the Pegassi Oppressor Mark 1. It finished in 39th place at 25.16 seconds. Again, a fairly respectable time. It is slower in a straight line than it is cornering. Usually with bikes, no matter what, you expect them to be better at handling turns and stuff because they're just so agile and there's so little weight to them. But it did fairly good. It's not terrible though, but it's also not great. But now let's go look at what the Mark II got. Okay, the Pegassi Oppressor Mark II did do much, much better. It came in first place at 20.16 seconds. My biggest issue with this, though, it's a victory, but not at the same time. Because, yes, it's fast, but it's only... You can't use it in races, okay? You can't use the bike in any races, either the Oppressor Mark 1 or the Mark II. There's no races for it, other than there's a couple parts in the Transform races, where you can use the Mark 1. I don't know about the Mark II. They might have races for it, I'm not sure. But the vehicle was basically designed for, in the roughest way of saying this, the cunts of GTA 5. They're just people that run around and kill people. They're the ones that have nothing but tanks and stuff, and they have nothing better to do other than blow up people, because usually the people that have this stuff are people that have more money to spend than what they know what to do with. And one of the reasons I'm doing this video is for the people that don't. Even including myself. I had to grind a lot to get this bike, which is why I'm so pissed off that I own it. Because I thought it was going to be great. You'd be able to go around the map in a couple minutes and get anything you needed for parts and bring it back, or crates. And it's not that good at doing that. It's good at hovering at high speeds, but actual flying, it's not. But I do have one more test. I don't have a chart or a placing list for it, because it's literally only between the Mark 1 and Mark 2 Oppressor. It's going to be the same drag race, except with both vehicles using the boost as often as they possibly can. So let's head over and do that. Okay, the audio this time is going to be coming from the Mark 1, which is the blue bike. This is going to be the test for, it's going to be the drag race, except this time we're going to be using the boost as often as we possibly can until we hit the finish line. Okay, let's start. I'm going to start with the boost on both of these. 3, 2, wait. Oh yeah, okay. 3, 2, 1, go. I had to think about it because the Mark II, you have to press X to shoot boost, whereas on the Mark 1 you use L3. And also on the Mark 1 or the Mark II, I only did that once. I could only shoot the boost once, which I think is pretty ridiculous. But now I'm gonna send you over to that clip that I said about earlier, with me talking about the Mark II and pretty much why I despise it. Okay, now on to the Mark II. Um, I like the Mark II, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's a lot slower when you're trying to get somewhere faster. I might be wrong, which that's obviously a possibility. Yes, this is maxed out. The other one was too, which is one of the reasons why this video took so long, because it wouldn't have been a big problem if I only had to get the bike. But obviously you have to get the Terabyte Center. You got to get the garage for the Terabyte Center. You have to get money to get the upgrades for the bike, and you have to get the bike itself. So that's a lot of money that you have to put into this. I do believe the Oppressor Mark II in total, with the truck and everything included, cost more. But the thing that really gets to me, that quite frankly pisses me off, is I feel as if, like, in full honesty, the only reason that I have the Oppressor Mark 1 and the Mark II are because I use them to get supplies for my businesses, and to get, like, when I'm going to boost a car in the game for the import-export. I like something that I can go over to my CEO building, walk in, order a car, go get it. I want something that can get me from my CEO building to the car as fast as possible. And in all honesty, I feel as if the attack helicopter is still the best option. You're only going at the max like 86 miles an hour while you're flying with this. And the other thing that really gets to me is the speed that this builds up boost again between the time that the Mark 1 builds up boost again. When you build up boost on this, like, I'll press it right now, it only shoots it out for like a maximum of 2 seconds. Probably not even 2 full seconds. And then it takes 40-something seconds. I timed it the one time, like, just counting. It's still not full. It takes forever for this bar to get full. That probably wasn't 40 seconds. I wonder if it differs, but it definitely takes at least twice as long to build up the boost on this compared to the Mark 1. So the Mark 1, you're using your rocket a lot more often than you are on this. So you're going faster for a longer journey. Granted, the Mark 1, you are gliding more than you're getting propelled by a rocket. Mostly the reason that I was angry about this was because I spent a lot of money to get this. I was expecting it to, like, blow everything out of the water. In all honesty, I'm against these type of vehicles in GTA. I think it's dumb to have rocket-powered anything in GTA. I can understand the cars more than the bikes, because the cars, it's more of a thing that people have actually done. I know people have put rocket engines on a bike, but they weren't to fly. It was just to go as fast as you could possibly go. The same for the cars. I don't care for hovering things like the DeLorean on here, which is the Deluxo. I don't care for, like, the really futuristic stuff. Like, it's like GTA's trying to follow in Call of Duty's footsteps with, like, advanced warfare and infinite warfare and all that garbage. It's just not appealing. In my opinion, it's not appealing. I don't like it. Honestly, after this video, I think I'm going to sell both of these and get the rocket car, the newer one that they just added. I'd rather have a car than 2 rocket bikes that are barely helping me when I also own a helicopter. I've spent so much money that it's kind of pointless to me to have these. I feel like you're paying way more than what you get. Like, you're not getting what you're paid for at all. I don't like these. They're... I think the full thing is just how shitty the Mark II is compared to the Mark I. They tried to fix something that wasn't broken. I understand where their minds were going with all this. I really do. But the Mark I is so much more agile than this. Okay, look, I'm going to pull up as hard as I can go. This is the steepest of an angle you can go up in the air. But here's the fun part. Trying to land this piece of shit. I mean, the Mark I's not that easy to land if you're trying to stop in a small space. But when you try to land this, it takes forever and a lot of space to go down. It takes forever to get where you precisely want to go. Like if I wanted to land, say, at the gas station from a fairly high height, okay? If I would want to go there, I'm going to start moving down now to hit that gas station. Whoops, went right over it. You can't do it. It goes way farther than it needs to go and land. And you try to slow down, and that doesn't help anything. It just makes everything worse. I don't like it. I truly don't. And it's annoying to spend $5 million to get the bike maxed out. You have to buy the bike, you have to buy the truck, you have to buy the garage for the truck, you have to buy the upgrades for the bike. And to spend $5 million, I could have had almost any car I wanted in this entire game, and I ended up with a piece of shit rocket bike that I'm sure, yeah, that someone put a lot of time and effort into this, but holy fuck, it's just garbage. I've never been this pissed off about a Testing Tuesday video, because I spent like a full week online every day with my friends attempting to get this fucking monstrosity that I'm just genuinely upset that I spent the money and the time to get this piece of fucking shit. So I'm just gonna sell them. I'm selling both of them. The Mark I, in my opinion, I don't even know what the times were yet. The Mark I's better in every way possible, in my opinion. It's faster. It's everything. I'm not saying faster as in on the track, because I don't know the times yet. I'm saying faster as just attempting to get, like, I'll show you on the map one thing that I always have to go from. I always have to go from here all the way down to the boat dock over here. Like, there's like a ship over there. I think it's that one. It's either that one or that one right there. Either way, I have to go all the way to the bottom of this map. And to get there, I have to go over these mountains. Let me show you how difficult it is to attempt to go up these mountains. I'm pulling back as hard as I can. Finally. Oh, I'm finally getting up over it. But it goes so slow compared to the bike. Or the Mark I. I keep saying the bike because I'm not used to really testing bikes. But it's ridiculous. You end up going so slow. I'm going 62 miles an hour up this. Down the other side, I can finally start to get some kind of speed. But look, the fastest I'm going still 86. 86 miles an hour. That's why I'm saying, just go ahead, get yourself the buzzard. Fuck this bike. Oh, and another thing, right there. Every time you get off of this, it falls over. Not every time, but 85% of the time. If you just get off of this bike, it will be falling over by the time you come back outside. And if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to watch one of my previous, next, and related videos, and don't forget to check out my other social medias in the description down below.